Hey girls and gals, welcome back to the channel. My name is Taylor and today's video is going to be another weekly reading vlog. If you've watched any of my videos before, you may know that this is not normally where I give reading updates. This is like my dog's little area of the apartment. It's got their perfect window. It's got the best window in the whole entire house for them to look out and just see how everything is going. And it has really good lighting. So I'm sitting here, I am hanging out with them. I'm hanging out with my good boy Bruce and Obi's right back there, if you can see him. I'm giving him pets. I'm trying not to block his view of the window. So yeah, I just figured I would come on and start the vlog because if not now, when? I don't know. January was not good at all in terms of my mental health. I'm just being completely honest. And February is kind of looking to be the same way. I'm working on it. The way that is manifesting this week is I wanted to film a reading vlog. There are so many good books that I want to talk about, but it's not even like performance anxiety, but every time I would like get ready and be like, okay, let's start the vlog. Let's sit down and film a vlog clip. Like it wouldn't happen. So that's why we're hanging with the dogs right now while I start a vlog. I read House of Flame and Shadows last week. I really enjoyed it. I have a full spoiler-filled vlog because I just did it as just a fun little celebration of like a whole shebang, kit and caboodle, midnight release, all that jazz. And it was a fun little reading diary. I had fun reading it. I like the bold direction and the bold choices that were made, in particular to the Massiverse. I feel like that's unpopular, but I will die for Bryce and Nesta. And I am very intrigued by the negativity surrounding those characters. I'm endlessly, I feel like I could write a whole research paper on them. Nesta in particular, how she's like the only character that a large part of this fandom refuses to give a redemption arc. We'll give redemption arcs, oh, bless you, Bruce. Bless you. We'll give whole redemption arcs for people who have committed war crimes. And I'm not saying that certain characters shouldn't get redemption arcs, but we'll get redemption arcs for them. And we'll root for their redemption arcs. Do not start something behind me, boys. But Nesta admittedly was not a great person at the beginning of the ACOTAR series, but like people refused to let her like have any sort of redemption arc and still hate her, which I think is very fascinating. And same with Bryce, because slight spoiler, skip ahead 30 seconds because I'll make this rapid fire if you haven't read House of Flame and Shadow. But why would she give a shit about the Fae? Honestly, I don't think that's out of character for her at all to, and eventually she comes around to it, but she doesn't care about the Fae because the Fae don't care about her. The Fae have been calling her like a half-breed and names since Crescent City 1. Why would she support an institution that believes she's an inferior being? That's all I'm saying. So, this is my dog. He's so handsome. He's so sleepy. Yeah, I love him. Your Honor, I love him. If you can hear that noise, it's either Obi chewing on a toy or I think it's actually him chewing on Bruce now that I'm saying that. He's trying to engage his brother in play. But this is not an ACOTAR vlog. I got wildly off track. But this is going to be a reading vlog and we're gonna read a lot of books and we're gonna have a lot of fun. Bruce and I are going to have a lot of fun. Obi will too. He's just very busy being a distracted little puppy. Oh, that's okay. So yeah, happy Monday. Welcome to the reading vlog. We are going to figure out some fun books to read. Hey, tell the people how handsome you are. I don't know what he's eating either. It's a toy, probably. Tell the people how handsome you are. Say, I am a good boy. And I love you. I love you. And you're a good boy. He's so handsome. He's so handsome in this light. I don't know. Fake it till you make it. We're planning on reading some good books. It's February 5th. We are going to have a great week of reads. I'm hoping to read the Gilda stories this week because Kelsee, that's their handle on Instagram. I'll leave the information down below. But she's doing a I Love Black Horror readathon, which is super exciting because I love horror. And it's Black History Month, so perfect. But this the theme for this week is vampires, and I'm going to try and read the Gilda stories, and potentially, I think if I finish that, there's also a, I think, vampire series by Tananarive due that I want to check out so badly, but the lines are long at the library, so I think I should be able to get the Gilda stories this week. So that's plan number one. I probably won't be reading any fantasy just because I'm in a little bit of a fantasy slump after House of Flame and Shadows, so I'll probably be reading some horror this week, and whatever else I feel like reading. So welcome to the vlog. We're gonna have a good time. I hope everyone is having a wonderful Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, whatever day that you're watching this. I hope you're having a wonderful day. We're gonna have a great day. Bruce is gonna have a great day, and I will talk to y'all later with another reading update. We've been having this nice conversation with Bruce, and Obi's pulling apart the couch. Puppies. Puppies are so troublesome. This dog, so handsome. Bruce, you are so handsome. Look at the way the light is hitting his muzzle. Hey ghouls and gals, happy Thursday. It has been a while, a couple days since I updated this vlog. We have some b-roll, of course, but just, you know, since I sat down and talked face to face. So we are working on it. We are faking it till we make it, and we are also trying to find joy in like the little moments in life. So for today, my random little moment that gave me joy was I made some ravioli. I made the vegan bolognese style ravioli from Trader Joe's. They have two types of vegan ravioli, and it is really good. Ravioli is one of my favorite pastas, and you know, it's not something I can get every single day since I've become vegan. So yeah, we had some ravioli, sprinkled a little bit of Parmesan cheese on top, and then tonight I am going to hang out with some of my friends. We have a local chapter of what's called like the Silent Book Club. So my local chapter is like affiliated. Apparently it's like a nationwide thing, which is super cool, but it's like an ambivert book club where there is like a little activity. There's a space sectioned out for like social time, but you do just go and read. So I'm going with two of my friends, and that's going to be fun. So we're looking forward to that tonight. So yeah, just, you know, doing the little things. When I'm filming this, I'm at 999 subscribers, which is super exciting just because I think it's something that I don't think about a lot, is the fact that even if my videos get like 5 views, that's 5 people that are going out of their day to like watch me rant about books, which is super cool. So yeah, we're almost to 1,000, which is absolutely wild. Like, I know my partner and my parents and my siblings are all subscribed, but like for the most part, it will be 1,000 people that I don't really know, that come and listen to me either, you know, play cozy games or read and talk about books, or both. So that's really cool, and something I'm trying to also have as one of my little moments of joy. Also the fact me going through my planner and figuring out that I do see my family in like 3 weeks, so that's very doable. And we're gonna make February better than January. So I know I I started this vlog out on a very, very chaotic note, but I am feeling better and we're working on it, and mental health is a journey, not a destination. So, and the weather is also great outside. I love a good rainy day, so plenty of small little things to talk about. But in terms of reading, because that's what these vlogs are all about, I did pick up and finish Come and Get It by Reid. I listened to this one via audiobook. It was one of the Libro FM e-arcs, so I really enjoyed this one. I haven't read anything else by this author, but definitely will be like adding them to my TBR. I don't normally read contemporary fiction, so that's why Reid has never really been on my radar, but this one, I got the audiobook arc, which was exciting. Thank you, Libro FM, for that. But I was intrigued by this one too because it takes place in Arkansas, which is where I live currently, and I love reading books that I'm familiar with the area. I just think that's pretty cool. And then also, it is focusing very heavily on like dorm room life, and one of our main characters is an RA. I used to be an RA in college, and it was such like a strange time for me. I really loved it for the most part. It was something that is such a strange experience now looking back at it. I met some wonderful people, and I really enjoyed it, and I really appreciated the opportunities it gave me, and of course the help with me being able to go to college and helping me pay for college. Like that was awesome. However, you know, like retrospectively looking back at it, there were some things I'm like, oh, that probably wasn't great for my mental health, or that wasn't great for my mental health. That's not neither here nor there. It was just, looking back, it's a very strange institution and like dynamic between a student RA and then the other students they're supposed to oversee. And I know I'm going off on a little bit of an RA tangent here, but I think that's something that Reid, she must have been involved in like resident services life or something like that, because it is very, very accurate. Not necessarily the things that happen, oh my gosh, but like not the plot of the story, things that happen I should say, but just she really captures that vibe and that weird camaraderie and just little collegiate subculture so well. But Come and Get It is about primarily we're following an author who is an interim professor, and so she is conducting research and like doing surveys and interviews and maybe some less other like above the board kind of ways, doing research and getting information about college girls in this dorm and what they're like and what, you know, is going on inside the mind of college women. So that's one of our main characters. Our other main character is Millie, who's an RA, and she is kind of from an unconventional background in terms of student age, I guess I would say, because she took a gap year, went to college for 3 years, had to take another gap year to help her parents through a medical crisis. So she is now back as an RA, so she's a little bit older than most of the students and even RA staff. So those are like our two main characters. We do follow some other characters here or there. Millie, our RA, is black, and Agatha, our professor, is white, and they kind of get involved in a relationship that is at first a professional relationship because Millie's dorm is the one where Agatha comes to do the interviews of the students, and then their relationship kind of gets murkier at first, even professionally, as they're coming up with ways to get this information that's not necessarily like the best journalistic practices. And then of course they start to get romantically entangled as well. This book was very funny, very witty. I think from the very first chapter, especially if you're listening on audiobook, you're just so entranced by what these characters have to say. Reid is so good at characterization and dialogue. Like, these characters, they feel real. Like, I would not have been surprised if Reid was like, yeah, I just hit record and just recorded some young women in a dorm and then like put out what they had to say, just because the characters feel so real. They feel so real because they're flawed, they're unlikable, they say shitty things, but they're good people over, like they're just very realistic characters, and the events that happen to them and the choices that they make are just so realistic and cringy almost, because you're like, oh my gosh, that is not what you should be doing. And you as the reader, you know, have that seat back and you can see the bigger picture, but none of the other characters obviously can see the bigger picture of things that are happening. So this was very enjoyable. This kind of got me out of a little bit of a reading slump, because I haven't been reading a lot, and that's, you know, directly correlated to how I've been feeling, but this book got me out of a reading slump, so I really enjoyed it. It was an interesting time. Okay, so I edit clips as I go in my vlog, so this is editing Taylor, but I mentioned that Come and Get It is funny, and it is. It's very funny, very witty. It is like a social commentary. There are some like very like horrendous things that happen. Like it can get to be a darker point at times, and I would say like the climax of the book, like one of the things that happens for the climax of the book is very unsettling and could be quite triggering. So I just wanted to come on here and say that, because I don't think I relate that properly in my review for this book. I think it's definitely a disservice, like, and I don't want anyone going in thinking it's just going to be lighthearted and funny, when it is more like satirical funny, and then also just like observational funny, even when bad things are happening, because bad things do happen to a lot of the characters in the book. So I don't want it to seem like bad things don't happen. So definitely check trigger warnings for this one. Yeah, sorry that wasn't clear in my initial. Definitely funny, but darker moments, and the characters both make like bad decisions. I do think I talk about that, but the characters make bad decisions and bad things happen, and just sometimes your jaw is just on the floor with everything that is happening. So yeah, keep that in mind. Sorry that I didn't mention it earlier, and sorry for the new camera angle, but yeah, just want to warn y'all if you pick this one up. I'm also about 65 pages into The Night House by Joe Nesbo, and this is an author that I've been familiar with. I think this is his first foray into horror. My former library worker brain associates Joe Nesbo with like Michael Connelly, Brad Thor, James Patterson, like authors like that, that usually come out with like a thriller-ish, mystery-ish type of release every single year. So I think this is Joe Nesbo's first horror. This is translated from the Norwegian by Neil Smith, and this is quite a short book. It's very small. It's not the typical hardcover size, and it's just over 200 pages, so pretty short. We're following our protagonist, 14-year-old Richard, and he is, first of all, he moves in with his aunt and uncle at the start of this book because his parents have tragically died in a fire, and he's a little bit of a misfit. He's a city boy who has to move to the country to live with an aunt and uncle he's never met, so he's very much a fish out of water. And I actually can't really tell what time era this is supposed to be in. It never says. The beginning chapter does make me feel based on pop culture and the things the two teen boys are talking about, just based on what 14-year-old boys would be talking about. It feels like it's in the 80s, but it's never been said. There's not really a time or place that is specifically designated. All I know is that it feels recent-ish, but it doesn't feel like modern day. And they mention very briefly something in this that was like in the past that happened in the 1920s. So I'm feeling this has to be, I'm feeling it's 1970s, 1980s, potentially the 1990s. So yeah, we have that going on, but our main character is not the most reliable, potentially. We're figuring that out because at the beginning of this book, he and a classmate are hanging out. They make a prank call using this telephone booth, and the telephone booth eats his friend. And so our main character runs to the police, tries to get help, and when they arrive there, there's no evidence that this kid got eaten by the phone booth, and the number that he claimed that they prank called is not in the directory, the address book either. So they feel like something is off and this boy's lying. Our narrator, of course, says that he's not, like this has happened to him and he keeps seeing these strange things and he thinks there's a supernatural conspiracy. However, he might not be the most reliable narrator. So, and at the center of this mystery, he thinks is this house that has kind of risen to local legend called the Night House. So I don't know how I feel about this one. I think it's going to be a short enough read where I'll just, you know, finish it and see how it goes. I feel like unreliable teen boy protagonist books are super hit or miss for me. So we'll have to see. I think this is the book I'll probably bring to the Silent Book Club tonight, unless I read this afternoon, although I don't think I'm gonna have time to really read this afternoon before I go to the Silent Book Club. So I think I'll be taking this. I think that sounds like a plan for this book. And then I know I mentioned that I still wanted to read the Gilda stories this week, still waiting for it from the library. So we'll see if I get to that one. But yeah, we're gonna finish The Night House and I'll figure out another audiobook to read as well, because Come and Get It by Kiley Reid, that was my audiobook. Gotta find another one because this is my physical book for the week. But that's really all I have for this update. I hope everyone is having a good day and I will talk to y'all later. Hey friends, happy Saturday. So there must be something in the water this week, because last time I gave an update, I was getting ready to go to that Silent Book Club event and I did manage to get there. And then once I got there, I was there for like 10 minutes. And then one of the friends that I was supposed to attend that event with actually got in a car accident. She's fine, everyone's fine, her car's not so fine, but I ended up going to pick her up and like escort her car back to her house. So that night did not go as planned. So I do not know what has been in the Arkansas air lately, but I just feel like me and a lot of other people are having just like a pretty unfortunate week. But it is the weekend, so hopefully we're just going to have a very chill, laid back, relaxed weekend with no unexpected huge things happening. Me and my partner are not Super Bowl people. We might have watched it had the Lions actually made the Super Bowl, because that is my dad's favorite team and them making the Super Bowl would have been like very incredible. So I probably would have watched for that, but we're not. We're not watching the Super Bowl on Sunday, but we have kind of planned for, we're thinking either a Lord of the Rings movie marathon extended edition, obviously, or the Marvels just came on Disney Plus and we've been kind of rewatching like the Marvel Cinematic Universe, so we may or may not do one of those things for this weekend instead. But yeah, I hope everyone who's watching the Super Bowl has a wonderful time. I have a lot of family actually that live in Kansas City, so it's a big deal for a lot of my family. So I guess, you know, in a way I'm rooting for the Kansas City team, but I just, you know, not my thing. But speaking of things that are not my thing, this book unfortunately was not my thing. It was not my thing, and this had some choices in it. I feel like if I would have picked this book up, not known anything about the author, anything about like when it released, if I read this, I would have guessed that it was written in like the 70s or 80s, based on the way that that the story progressed, and also the way that certain tropes that are like known to be so annoying, spoilers, I'll put a little tag here, but this book used not only mental illness as a trope for our character being unstable, being an unreliable narrator, but it also used, it was all a dream, that trope as well. This just really did not work for me, which is unfortunate because the first chapter is awesome. And I think the first chapter really sets this up for a completely different story than what this ends up being. This was 3 sections and they're very, very segmented. They take different tones because section 1, we have a revelation at the end of section 1. Section 2 is following what we think the new plot is, and then section 3 is, I've been saying sections instead of parts, but you know, same thing, tomato. But and then part 3 is a completely different plot. So and again, very, very short. Not a fan. And also, like, this has been on a lot of lists. I specifically remember I was working at the library when this was like being released and being talked about being released, like before it had released, and I was able to read like a Publisher's Weekly magazine, and it had a whole spread of haunted house horror, and this was in there, and this is not haunted house horror. The night house, the titular night house, doesn't really have anything to do with the plot, unfortunately. So this was a miss for me, and since it seems like this is the author's only foray into horror and the other things are just not typical genres that I'm interested in, this will probably be my only Jo Nesbo book. But that's unfortunate, but I know that this author is so popular, so I know there's an audience somewhere. I'm wondering if, you know, you don't usually read horror and maybe you just like the way this author crafts story, you might like this. I don't know, I wouldn't recommend this to horror fans, but yeah, that's a bummer. But that's where we're at, that we finished. At least I've liked Come and Get It. So not all of the books in this vlog have been a bummer so far. In terms of what I'm picking up next, you can see, maybe, I don't know, there could be a glare. You can see the Gilda Stories has been on Available Soon like all week. So I'm hoping that it'll move from Available Soon to Available Now this weekend. But I also have some hold books that are ready for me to pick up at the library. So me and my partner are going to go to the library today, pick those up, and maybe I'll read one of those. I don't know. So I will do a little library haul a little bit later on in this vlog, but I am very excited to pick up some new books, and we'll be returning the night house. And yeah, that's really all I have planned for this Saturday. Hopefully after I finish out this clip, I will figure out something else to read that puts me in a little bit better of a reading mood than the night house, because boy was that disappointing. But yeah, I'm going to go get to reading, and I will talk to y'all with another reading update a little bit later. Theme of this vlog, of this weekly reading vlog, should just be something along the lines of the best made plans never go as planned, because really it's quite interesting at this point how every single update I have, I give a plan. I say, you know, this is what I'm looking forward to, this is what's happening next, and then the next update, it's me saying, oh yeah, that didn't actually happen at all. First of all, happy Monday. I did not update during this weekend at all, but last time I sat down and talked face to face with the camera, I was going to go to the library. I was very excited about picking up a lot of new releases. In particular, Womb City was one of the books that I've really been looking forward to. That, and I think like a Christopher Golden, but like there was just a lot of new releases I was looking forward to picking up. So me and my partner would go to the library, and it's, you know, it's out of our way. It's why we usually only go on the weekend, and I go to check the books out. There's a problem with my card. I'm like, okay, maybe I need to update my information. I don't know. I go to the front desk, ask the people, and they're like, oh, this has just been happening with some cards and we're working through it. We don't know what's happening right now, but we're working through it and we're sorry. So essentially there's like an error with a lot of the cards in their system, but because my card is one of the cards affected, I can't check anything out at the moment, which was frustrating. And I am planning on calling back because this was Saturday, and it also impacted my card, so I can't use Libby with that library card either, because it's locked me out of everything, and it's very frustrating that it hasn't been solved yet. So that was Saturday. Sunday the library is closed, so I didn't expect a fix, but it's Monday now. It's still happening with my Libby card. I'm sure it's still happening with my physical card as well. I'm waiting for them because they said they would contact me and let me know when I could use my card again, but my holds expire on Wednesday. They expire on Valentine's Day, actually, which is funny. So I think that is Wednesday. And I'm worried that my holds are just going to expire because I can't pick them up. I can't check them out. They won't let me check them out, which I get. Again, I used to work at a library. I'm not really sure what the issue is here because when I was working at the library, like, this had never been an issue, but it's not the front desk people's fault. It's obviously like some sort of software thing, but I can't check anything out, which is just very, very frustrating, especially with those new releases, because if my holds lapse on them, then I'm going to have to re-put holds on them. I'll be at the end of the line. It's just, it's a bummer. So I'm simultaneously, you know, I'm obviously not blaming anyone at the library. It's whatever. It's books. It's not a big deal, right? They're fixing it. But at the same time, I'm so bummed because I thought I was gonna have, you know, a little book haul, more books to talk about, more books to be excited about reading. So unfortunately, yeah, I don't know. I think I'm going to call them either today or tomorrow and see what the update is on that. And if not, if they can just hold those books for me until they get it figured out so that I can actually check them out, that would be fantastic. So that didn't happen. And then me and my partner, his hobby, I think I've mentioned this in this vlog multiple times now, but he makes mead, which is super cool. That was like his big kind of quarantine era project. It's a little bit after quarantine, but that was like his big homesteading project. Like, I feel like those, like, you know, how to make bread or just a bunch of crafty things got super popular again, which is cool, and people were learning like tangible skills like that. So he learned how to make mead. He's really good at it. So we, Saturday and into Sunday, we're not football people, so we watched the extended editions of Lord of the Rings, drank some mead, ate some delicious breads and cheeses, and just like a whole Hobbit spread. And you know, if you know the extended edition of Lord of the Rings, that's a very big, lengthy undertaking for like a stretch of time. So we were busy doing that and just relaxing and not watching the Super Bowl and doing that. So yeah, that is what y'all missed. And now it's Monday and I have a little bit of a reading update. It's not the reading update that I wanted to have. I also feel just like, again, the Guild of Stories still available soon. I keep waiting for that. I'm kind of frustrated that I haven't gotten it. So I did end up picking up, I think it was like Saturday morning, I ended up picking this book up, but I picked up The Clinic by Kate Quinn. This is a new release. I believe it came out at the end of January, and this is following a very expensive rehab clinic that only caters to the highest tax brackets, and like they only cater to like celebrities and influential people like that. And we're following this very, very exclusive rehab clinic. We're following one of the employees and then also a person who's going undercover into the rehab clinic because a very famous high-profile client dies. They believe it was self-inflicted, but that's, you know, the story that they give out. It's initially ruled to be a self-inflicted death, but the police aren't buying it. Our person who's going undercover is actually, that was her sister who died, so she's not buying it either, and a lot of the patients and staff at the clinic aren't really buying this story either. So there might be something sinister going on at this clinic, and you know, we're following our two main characters. One of them is the, I would say, almost like HR or like public relations kind of part of the clinic. Like, she's not a doctor, psychiatrist, anything like that, but like she does all the intake form, welcomes people in. She's the one talking to the police. We're following her. She starts thinking that something is not quite right. And then we're following our other main character, Meg, who goes into this rehab clinic undercover to try and figure out what happened to her sister. So this one, I am like very, very hesitant to pick up like thrillers that deal with mental health or things like addiction issues, just because a lot of the time they don't do well. They don't do a good job of like using it as a nuanced conversation instead of just a plot twist or like a shocker plot twist. So that's why I normally don't pick up books like this. However, this author, she states in the dedication to this book, or like the foreword to this book, that this is her very first book that she's written sober. So this is a very personal book for the author, and one where I felt comfortable because it does seem like she's had very personal firsthand experience in this type of setting. Hopefully not with, you know, the murder mystery part going on, but because she has that firsthand experience, hopefully things are going to be treated better than maybe some other thrillers that I've read in the past that just treat things like addiction and mental health, and even like taking one's own life, like treated those like shocking plot twists rather than the tragic and complex issues that they are. So I'm currently reading this one. I'm 30% of the way through. I'm not loving a lot of the characters, which is kind of hard. For example, like the police in this book, it's really like they're pushing for an investigation because they're like the first people to suspect that something's not quite right. So, you know, we should be rooting for them, right? But they're so incredibly annoying and just, they're cops. And I feel like for this one, it's like a broken clock is right twice a day. Like they might be right about how we should be investigating this, but just the way that they're going about it and their demeanor and the way that they talk about the people that go to this clinic, and people who need help, that's really disgusting to read about. Obviously, this author is not like endorsing that view. She just has characters in it that are like that. I don't think you're supposed to like them, but they're annoying. And then Kara, who is the point of view who works at the clinic, she has a lot of stuff to unpack as well. She's been quite fat phobic at times, and also just with the way that she's judging other people, it's a little, it's not fun to read, but I'm hoping again that's going to be like a kind of a thing that gets addressed. And then of course we have Meg, who I think she's actually probably the most likable, and I would almost say, I don't think, like, take this with a grain of salt because she's not Jessica Jones, but if you like very flawed, complex, kind of unlikable female main characters, I'd say Meg kind of leans into that because she's going to this clinic, and she's going undercover, but it actually turns out that she does actually have some substance issues of her own that she is very much just ignoring, pushing under the rug, pretending they're not a problem. And I think her time at the clinic, she's also going to realize maybe not only what happens to her sister and the truth of what happens to her sister, but maybe that she should have been in rehab all along and gotten some help for herself as well. So I'm enjoying this. It's okay. I think it's definitely like, it's me, not the book, just because this is not the book I anticipated picking up this weekend, but it is due tomorrow. Back at the library. Not at my physical library. I have multiple library cards. So this is on a different Libby's library card. Thank goodness for that, because otherwise that would be a bummer. But it's okay, like 30% of the way in so far. It's one where when I'm not reading it, I'm never like itching to pick it back up. But when I pick it back up, I can breeze through a large chunk of it because it is interesting. It's fast paced. So yeah, hopefully we can finish that. I'm just gonna keep this vlog going until I think tomorrow. We'll see. Maybe we can get some updates on the library situation as well. Fingers crossed for that. But I'll be reading the clinic, and then also since the clinic is on my phone, I'll probably pick up either like an audiobook because the clinic is an ebook, or a physical book as well to kind of round out my TBR. But yeah, that's the update. Things just are not going as planned, but that's okay. It's just books, so it's not like high stakes, super heavy things. We can switch things around. We can change around TBRs, but that is the update for right now. I gotta go get to work, but I will talk to y'all later with another reading update. Hey friends, happy Tuesday. It is finally time to close this vlog off because it's been a chaotic vlog. So thank you for holding on. I did manage to go to the library, and clearly, as you can see, my library card is working again. So I got to get all of my holds plus a few other books. You may have seen in B-roll footage that I did start a new book. I actually have now both the audio version on Libby and the physical version. So I did start Womb City very, very briefly. This, I believe, is like a science fiction horror. It's Afrofuturism. It's African futurist, and it says it's an adrenaline-packed cyberpunk body-hopping African futurist ghost story. And it explores motherhood, memory, and a woman's right to her own body. So I picked this up. I've listened to about 20 to 30 minutes of it so far. Really, really enjoying it. So we will be continuing on with this book in next week's vlog. So if you would like to see my opinions on this or any of the other books that I talk about, we will be getting to a lot of them in next week's vlog. So definitely looking forward to reading this. Again, only about 30 minutes in, but I'm already liking it a whole lot better than Night House. So not that that's saying much because I didn't like Night House at all, but this is gonna be interesting. Now I did mention, I've mentioned in a couple of clips now, I am still waiting on the Gilda stories. So I am still participating in the I Love Black Horror readathon, absolutely. My library did not have any physical copies of the Gilda stories or any books for that prompt. So we're waiting on that. We will be reading it next week. I'm still unavailable soon. I'm first in line. So here's hoping next week is the week for that. But I did get some physical books. I did come prepared for other prompts in that readathon. So this week that I'm filming this right now and will be starting my next weekly vlog, the prompt is witches, and I will be reading The Witchery. This one is YA. It is classified in my library system as like a paranormal rather than a horror, so I think this will probably be more like urban fantasy or like a paranormal sort of story rather than a horror. So I think more fantasy than horror, but I meant to pick up this one last year and this just works really, really well for the prompt. I don't know if you can tell because, you know, library books have glare and we're not working with great light, but we're following 4 main characters, and I believe there's also some sort of like witchy school aspect to it, so I'm intrigued. It's been a while since I've read a good witchy book, so I will be reading this next week as well. And then I'm about 99% sure, 99 is very high, we'll say I'm about 85% sure that there's a slasher prompt for this readathon. So I did pick up You're Not Supposed to Die Tonight because, number one, I have been told several times that I'm going to really enjoy this one. This one is an ode to classic slashers. I believe the main character works at like a reenactment of like a slasher, so it's supposed to be like a camp that you go, and it's kind of an interactive mystery where you solve the slasher but then people actually start dying. So this one, I don't think I'll read it next week, but I'll read it for the week that corresponds with that readathon prompt. Again, I'm pretty sure there's a slasher prompt. If not, I'm going to read it anyway because it's very short. I didn't realize how short it was, and I've heard good things about it. I've heard a lot of people tell me I'm gonna like this one, so looking forward to this as well. And then rapid fire, just some other books that I picked up. We have Bride by Ali Hazelwood. This is definitely not something, this is out of my comfort zone. I'll say it like that. Out of my comfort zone. I'm trying it because it's so far out of my comfort zone. We'll see what happens. Valentine's Day is tomorrow, so maybe I'll pick it up then as like a fun, spicy sort of paranormal read. I also got The House of Last Resort by Christopher Golden. This is a horror author that I've read a couple things by, and he's kind of a mixed bag for me, but this is gonna be a haunted house horror, and I love that subgenre. So I'm looking forward to checking this one out. And then we also have Rabbit Hole, which I believe it's a missing person thriller, and it's also like a critique of the way we as a culture consume true crime and turn like tragic stories into conspiracy theories and things that we consume as entertainment. And then last but not least, we have Emily Wilde's Map of the Otherlands, book 2 in the Emily Wilde series by Heather Fawcett. I read the first book in the series last year and it was very charming, so I am looking forward to reading the second, but that is going to be my little library haul. I don't think I've mentioned in this vlog yet because, again, chaotic. It's been a chaotic week. Here's hoping that next vlog I'll be a little bit more organized, less extenuating circumstances happening, but thank you all. Thank you all so much for 1K subscribers. I hit that goal this week and it just could not have come at a better time. So thank you all so much for subscribing. If you're watching this and you haven't subscribed, please do so. I would love to have you, but that is going to be it for this vlog. This comes out, if you're watching it the day it comes out on Valentine's Day. So happy Valentine's Day. I hope everyone just has a wonderful day. Thank you so much for being here with me on this journey, watching my chaotic vlogs and just being along for the ride. If you enjoyed this video, please be sure to give it a thumbs up, leave a comment down below, subscribe to my channel for all of the cozy gaming and bookish content. Stay safe, stay spooky, and I will see y'all in the next video. Bye!